Cardi B just flipped the internet upside down with a live stream nobody saw coming. She wasn't rapping, she wasn't teasing new music, she was straight up venting about her divorce, and the words she used set the tone for what might be the messiest split in hip-hop history. According to Cardi, Offset is basically holding her hostage in this divorce. And she didn't say it with cute metaphors, she said flat out, "The only way I can get out of my marriage is if I pay somebody else's taxes and give them one of my properties." Now think about that for a second. Divorce is supposed to be about splitting up assets, custody, all that legal stuff. But Cardi made it sound like Offset is turning it into a hostage negotiation, complete with IRS receipts. She's saying he won't sign off unless she hands over big money and one of her houses. And this isn't just about pride, it's about millions on the line, properties being fought over, and Cardi's freedom to move on. And let's not forget the twist that makes this even more explosive. Cardi is reportedly pregnant with Stefon Diggs' child. Yeah, while all this legal drama is going down, Offset's out here fighting for property and taxes while Cardi's already moving on with an NFL star. That's the kind of soap opera energy you couldn't script if you tried. The craziest part, fans are eating it up. Twitter's on fire with memes of Offset photoshopped as a prison warden, Cardi screaming hostage, and everybody picking sides like it's the NBA Finals. But under the jokes, the stakes are real. We're talking about financial power moves, a family being pulled apart, and two stars whose careers could take major hits depending on how this plays out. And that brings us to the question everybody's asking. What exactly is Offset demanding that has Cardi this heated? Let's break it down. So let's talk about the moment that lit the fuse, Cardi's live stream. She sat there, raw, unfiltered, and dropped a line that had fans replaying it on loop. "The only way I can get out of my marriage is if I pay somebody else's taxes and give them one of my properties." That's not some vague shade. That's a straight up accusation aimed squarely at Offset. And the way she delivered it, you could feel the frustration. She wasn't joking. She wasn't trolling. She sounded like a woman tired of being stuck in a situation she feels she can't escape. Now here's where the drama gets sticky. On one hand, some folks say this is just Cardi being Cardi, dramatic, emotional, making it sound worse than it is. But on the other hand, if she's telling the truth, Offset is basically turning their divorce into a shakedown. Forget romance. This is coercion versus negotiation, and it's playing out in front of millions of fans. Think about it. Most divorces are messy behind closed doors, but these two, they're airing it out like it's pay-per-view. And Cardi choosing to frame it as being held hostage takes it to a whole different level. It paints Offset as someone using legal red tape to trap her, and it makes Cardi the one fighting to break free. That language hits hard because it's not about love anymore, it's about control. But here's the cliffhanger. What's really behind that hostage claim? What does Offset actually want out of this divorce that has Cardi feeling trapped? The answer might make you laugh, roll your eyes, and shake your head all at once, because Offset's demands aren't just about property, they come with a twist straight out of the IRS. Alright, let's get into what Offset is allegedly asking for, because this is where the whole thing turns from sad to downright messy. Reports say Offset isn't just pushing for the usual stuff like joint custody of their kids. He's also pressing for spousal support, a cut of property, and the kicker, for Cardi to cover some of his tax bills. Yeah, you heard that right. Offset wants the IRS taken care of by Cardi. Now, most people, when a relationship ends, they're worried about who gets the couch, the dog, maybe a car. Offset, he's out here negotiating like, yeah, you can leave me, but make sure Uncle Sam's happy first. The internet wasted no time roasting him. Memes popped up with captions like, Offset's divorce wish list, 1, house 2, child support 3, Cardi pays the IRS. Folks are clowning him, saying he's trying to turn his divorce into a Black Friday sale. But let's be real, this is bigger than memes. Offset might see this as leveling the playing field. Cardi's the bigger star right now, with more money, more momentum, and a whole new chapter ahead of her. Some fans argue he's just fighting for what he thinks he deserves after years of being in her shadow, but others say this is a prime example of him trying to drain Cardi dry before she can move on. And that's exactly how Cardi framed it. This ain't about love anymore, it's about money, leverage, and pride. The woman's out here saying she's being held hostage in her own marriage, and Offset's demands only add fuel to that fire. But here's where it gets even deeper. This isn't just another celebrity divorce. This is two people who once called themselves a hip-hop power couple, now dragging each other through legal mud. And when you stack that against their history, the fall from grace looks even uglier. It's almost hard to believe how far things have fallen when you rewind the clock. Cardi B and Offset weren't just another celebrity couple, they were hip-hop royalty. A secret wedding in 2017, public flexes on the red carpet, hit records together, and even through the cheating scandals, they always managed to circle back and put on that ride or die image. Fans rooted for them. They were messy, sure, but they were our kind of messy, the type that made you believe love could survive the chaos. But over time, the cracks started showing. Remember when Cardi filed for divorce back in 2020, only to call it off? Or all those rumors about Offset stepping out, followed by expensive gifts and Instagram apologies? It became a cycle. Scandal, reconciliation, repeat. And through it all, Cardi tried to convince the world she was fighting for her family. Offset, for his part, leaned on the we good narrative, even when the headlines said otherwise. Fast forward to now, and all that history makes the current drama sting even more. What started as a love story, two young stars building a family, is now a full-blown legal war. The same couple who once showed off their daughter culture on stage at festivals are now fighting over custody terms. The same man who bought Cardi a Lamborghini after cheating rumors is now allegedly demanding she pay his taxes to walk away. Fans are looking at it like, we should have seen this coming, because as much as people love them together, the writing's been on the wall for years. Once the trust is gone, the love story doesn't play out, it drags out. And now, instead of being remembered as a power couple, Cardi and Offset are becoming another cautionary tale about fame, love, and money colliding in the worst way. But it's not just the two of them in this fight anymore. The internet has officially jumped in to pick sides, and the noise online is shaping the entire narrative. If you've been anywhere near Twitter, TikTok, or IG since Cardi's hostage live stream, you already know the internet is eating this divorce drama like it's a Thanksgiving feast. Fans have officially taken sides, and the divide is brutal. On Team Cardi, the message is loud and clear. Offset is trying to bleed her dry. People are posting, imagine building an empire and still having to pay your ex's taxes just to get free. Couldn't be me. Others say Cardi carried Offset for years. She's the one winning Grammys, landing endorsements, and headlining festivals. So why should she bankroll his problems now? To them, this isn't divorce, it's extortion. On Team Offset, the defense is simple. Marriage is about sharing, and divorce is about splitting. They argue that Cardi's making Offset look like a villain when in reality, he's just asking for what he's legally entitled to. Some fans even say Cardi knew what she signed up for. Offset ain't broke, he's just standing his ground. In other words, they see Cardi as weaponizing the internet to paint him in the worst possible light. And then, of course, you've got the meme squad. They wasted no time turning this into a circus. One viral edit shows Cardi behind fake prison bars yelling hostage, while Offset's dressed up as a warden with IRS papers in his hand. Another has Offset's head photoshopped onto a Monopoly banker, captioned, "Do not pass go until you pay taxes." The internet has basically turned their divorce into a Netflix comedy special. But underneath all the laughs, there's a real debate brewing. Is this just another messy celebrity split? Or is Cardi exposing the darker side of what happens when money, fame, and power get tangled up in divorce court? And that question leads us right to the bigger stakes. The pregnancy bombshell, the careers on the line, and how this fight could change the way both Cardi and Offset are remembered in hip-hop. Here's where the drama jumps from messy to monumental, because this divorce isn't just about two people splitting up. It's about reputations, legacies, and even the next generation. First off, Cardi's pregnancy with NFL star Stefon Diggs' child, that adds a whole other layer to the chaos. Fans are already saying Offset's demands aren't just about money, they're about control. Some believe he's dragging this divorce out to keep the spotlight on himself or to squeeze Cardi at her most vulnerable moment. Others think he just can't handle seeing her move on so publicly and so fast. And the timing couldn't be worse or better, depending on how you look at it. Cardi is gearing up for her next album, Am I the Drama, which already sounds like the soundtrack to this entire situation. If she plays it right, the publicity from this mess could actually fuel her rollout and make the project a cultural moment. But Offset, his rep is already shaky. The cheating scandals, the constant headlines, and now Cardi painting him as the IRS warden of her life, it's not a good look. Unless he flips the narrative, this divorce could brand him as the bitter ex forever tied to Cardi's glow up. The bigger stakes also reach into hip-hop's culture wars. Cardi has always been seen as the underdog turned superstar, while Offset built his name inside one of the most dominant rap groups of the 2000s. Now, in the court of public opinion, their brands are clashing as much as their lawyers are. Cardi's got sympathy on her side, especially with the pregnancy storyline, while Offset looks like the one playing legal games. And that's why fans can't stop watching, because this isn't just about custody papers or property lines. It's about power, respect, and who walks away with the crown in the aftermath. And trust me, with everything on the line, this story isn't close to over yet. The only question left is, where does this wild ride lead? So where does this all go from here? Honestly, it could play out a few different ways. Offset could drag the settlement out for months, forcing Cardi to either pay up or keep fighting in court. If Cardi caves and cuts a check, Offset walks away looking like he finessed the system. But if this goes to a full-blown courtroom showdown, the receipts, the drama, and the tea will spill in ways that make today's headlines look like light work. Either way, fans are locked in, because this isn't just a divorce, it's hip-hop's messiest saga playing out in real time. At the end of the day, it comes down to this. Is Offset really holding Cardi hostage, or is this just divorce hardball at the highest level? Is this about love gone sour, or about pride, money, and power? No matter where you land, Team Cardi, Team Offset, or Team, this whole thing is messy. One thing's for sure, we haven't seen the last twist in this story. But now it's your turn. Drop your verdict in the comments. Do you think Offset's being unfair, or is Cardi overplaying it for sympathy? Let's get into it below, and the best takes might get featured in our next video. And don't forget, only 20% of y'all are subscribed right now. Hit that button, ring the bell, and stay locked in. Because if this is how the drama starts, imagine how wild it's going to get when lawyers, paperwork, and maybe even Diggs get dragged into the mix.